Hello and welcome to another Blender tutorial brought to you by the Luwizart. My name is Emmanuel Okafor, as always, and today we'll be looking at how to generate hair from curve inside Blender. So I've done something like this before, but this is an update, especially to the fact that the previous Hairnet add-on had some problem with the latest versions of Blender. So a newer version is out, like not really new, it's like bug fixed so that it can work well with Blender 9 plus 9 and forward. So I just thought it to be nice to like go ahead and like show you guys a tutorial on how to achieve this. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to get hair from curve in Blender. So this is what we'll be starting with, and this will be creating like a base mesh for that we use to trace the hair. So I'm going to show you guys this too, but not in depth, just like the preview. And from this we'll be generating this. Okay, so I went ahead to add more styling, so let me just take off the styling. So this is how it looks. So I'm going to be showing you how to achieve this today, so I hope this will be fun for you. So let's get started. So starting out, we'll be creating the base reference hair in ZBrush, though you can create exactly the same thing using Blender. Because I'm just using very basic brushes. I'm using the clay builder brush to add volume when needed, and using the move brush to pull and move stuff around, and I'll be using the crease brush to add details, and of course I'll be using the smooth brush. So this process is quite important because we need to have a reference model or reference hair where we'll be tracing out the curve in a minute. So I'm kind of speeding it up, but in real time this took me about 7 minutes, and it should have taken longer if I'm trying to get a more detailed hair. But for this instance, basically what you're trying to achieve is not like a very detailed hair. As long as you can get the general idea of the hair you're trying to go for, that's what you should do. And if you notice, I just broke symmetry. So I started out with symmetry to just get the overall shape of everything looking good, and now I can break symmetry to start styling each point as needed. So if you're interested in seeing a longer version of where I'm sculpting hair, or if you want me to explain in more in depth to my thought process of this, you can let me know in the comment, and I will go ahead and provide that for you guys. So basically, this is just a very straightforward step. We're pulling and pulling. Definitely, we're using the reference to be as close to the reference image as possible, and basically just trying to get the hair flow of the hair with the sculpt. So we'll just be using the crease brush, moving stuff around where we have like seams of transition. So you want to also bear that in mind, and once you've gotten that, you're all good to go. Okay, so now we're inside Blender and we have all the models loaded in. Now we'll be moving on to the next step. I'll just go ahead and turn on my screencast key so you can follow along if I'm using any shortcut, but I'll try as much as possible to use like menus to select stuff. Okay, so if you've never used the Hairnet add-on, this add-on is quite intuitive, that it allows you to generate hair from like sheets. By sheet it just means a plane. It also allows you to generate hair from fibers and also curves. In this tutorial, we'll not be going in depth to really discuss like different ways you can use this. I already have like a paid course that you could check out. I'll leave a link in the description. There I went more in depth in how you can use this add-on. I explained everything, and by the end of it, by the end of the course, we actually went ahead to create like a very complex braided hairstyle inside Blender. So if you're interested in that, you can avail it. Also, I'm going to leave a link in the description for the Hairnet add-on. If you've used this previously and run into some errors, this version is the newest version that works with the rest Blender 2.9, which is what I'm using, and it also even works for Blender 2.91. So this is the latest one and everything works. Okay, so for this tutorial, basically the one we'll be using is add hair from fiber. So basically how that works, if we extrude a curve and select emit from self. So we could do add hair from curve, but we get an error. So the workaround that is just basically convert this curve to a mesh. So now this is just basically an edge and emits hair from self and emits hair from fibers, and it works. So that's basically what we're using for this. So there are just few rules which I went more in depth in my course. Though you can ask me questions in the comment and I'll definitely answer. This is not like a promotion video for the course, but I don't want to like go into much in depth in this particular tutorial because I don't want it to be so long. But basically the rules you should bear in mind when using the hairnet, like using curve, is that all the curves inside one curve mesh must have equal amounts of point. So if I start tracing this curve, all the curves I'll be tracing have to have the same amount of points. So you'll be seeing that in a bit. Okay, so now let's add a curve for tracing. So there's a technique I use that just makes it quite easy and makes it feel fun for tracing the curve. So let's just go ahead and go to add a curve, Bezier curve, and we can go into edit mode for the curve, and I'll right click here and show two settings. We don't even need that. Okay, so now inside the curve edit mode we can click here and switch this to none because I don't want to have any of those handles. I just want to have the point, so it's just intuitive for me to click and trace the hair. Also, I want to change the interpolation of this curve. So if you hit curve and we go to, I usually use shortcuts for this, that's why it's kind of hard for me to locate it. Or better say, if you hit W for context menu, we can look for the handle type. So we want to set this to automatic, so this works better for this process. Okay, so now we'll just start tracing the curve, but before we do that, let's go ahead and turn on snapping and set it to face. Okay, and finally, I know this is a lot of process, but it's quite straightforward. You want to go to the object menu and set the visibility to in front. You put display in front. So this is to allow me to just work nicely without any distraction, interruption or disruption. So this is what we get. So I'll just go over that. What I did was I turned off the handles, I turned on snapping, I changed the handle type to automatic and turned on snapping. So once you have that all set, we can start tracing. So if you hit Control, click on any object and you have the snapping turned on, to snap right on the object. Okay, and selecting that point, we can just click and we've created another point. So for this, I would probably get like so we'll go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So let's do 7. We'll trace 7 points on this. So it's just, once you do that, you deselect everything by hitting Alt A, and then you can click again. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Then you have that. So you want to just trace out the style which you're trying to achieve. So let's make sure we have the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. 1 2 3 4 5. So it's just basically that. You just trace on that. So let's do like 2 more, and then I will pause the video and come back when I'm done with it. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so you want to like just space it out for areas that don't need much details, and then you can come closer. 4 5 6 7. Okay, so now I'm going to just pause the video and come back when I have like a tip to share, something like that. Okay, so I'm done just tracing it out. Let's try to isolate it. So this is how it looks now, just tracing it out. And I use like we just have like 7 points for each. And of course, yeah, we're all humans, and most of the times you might get like less points or more points. So it, in case you run into an error like this, let me go ahead and show you that. So let's say we just subdivide this some more, or just like add one that is not same amount, and we'll make this a mesh, and then we try to generate the hair. So you're going to run into an error, and it's going to tell you the hair guides have different lengths. So that basically means you need to make sure that everything is equal. So you should just bear that in mind. So when that happens, you should just go ahead and select each to make sure that they all have equal amounts. And you could actually check that out by, if you enable the analytics tool, if I can find it. Anyway, but you can right click here and see statistics, and you want to look at this vertex. So if you select this, you can see we have select this, you see we have 24. No, it shouldn't be, it should be 21. So we have 21, and we have 21 for the rest. So anyone that has more than 21, that's the culprit that you need to fix. Okay, so we have everything looking okay. So now let's set it up to work as a hair. So first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and hide this, and then I can go ahead and turn off the transparency. So uncheck the in front. So right now it looks okay, but it doesn't look full, so we need it to look full so it works great. Before we do that, let's first create a root for the hair, because right now it's just floating and we need it to be coming up from somewhere. So to do that easily, we just go to select first. Okay, so once this is the first, and it shows that the hair is working well, because you want the curves, the normals should be going this direction, so that even when you add, like you're trying to simulate it, it will work perfectly. So you can preview your normals. As you can see, the normals is going this direction, so that's what we want. Okay, so for the next step, like I said, we're going to be adding the root of the hair. So to do that, we want to go to select last, and it's just selecting. So first, just make sure if everything is okay. So yeah, the normal is going the right direction. So let's select last. Let's select the first, and selecting the first, we make sure you have your snapping turned off, so we can extrude all the selected and just move it down in towards the head like this. So this is what we have. Everything has been extruded into the head. Okay, so for the next step, we can also see that they are like scanty positions, so we need to have okay, so we can see that they're scanty position, so we need to have some hair to fill this up. So instead of going in and and tracing it again, which is going to take more time, we could use some technique to like speed up the process. So the process I came up with is to just duplicate this, okay, and then you can even go manually inside and move stuff around, but it's going to take time. So let's try to do procedurally. Not really procedural, but more faster, automated. So we could select everything, and if you hit F3 for search, you want to search for randomize. Okay, so this is what randomize does. It kind of randomize everything. So at this point, we just play with the settings. We don't want it to go crazy. We just want to just move things along slightly. Okay, so we've gotten that. We can repeat that for this again. So randomize, and we'll just reduce the strength. You can play with the uniformity and the normals. Okay, and you can play with different seeds to get different results. As you can see, we've filled it up nicely. And if needed, you can actually still go inside and move things as much as you want. So at this point, we can just select the 3 curves and combine them into one. Have one more. Okay, so this is what we have now. And we can now make this a mesh from curve. Okay, and finally emit hair from self, add hair from fiber. So it will take a bit of time, which is what it compared to grooming everything by hand. So to just load for like maximum of 1 minute or less. So yeah, it's done now. It didn't take really much time, so probably like few seconds. So we have it's looking like this, and now what we can do is just go select the curve mesh and go into the particles, and we can go to render. We can go to viewport and just increase this, and you can see we have it looking much better. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to fine tune it to even look much better. So we increase the children particles to like 40. Okay, and we can reduce the radius of the hair. Okay, for all this part we have like patchy spots, so let's fix that. So increase the step size, preview the children. And at this point, we can grab the move brush and make sure you have your preserve root and preserve length and preserve root, and we can just move things into place to fill out very well. In case we didn't get much coverage from that. Okay. So you don't want to mess it too much, not to mess up the styling. So now we can add some clumping and play with the shape of the clumping so that it tapers at the end and doesn't taper at the tip. Okay, so we can now probably turn this off. All you just need to do now is just tweak it if you need to fill up the gap slightly. If you wanted to avoid this, you could just have added more curves to fill up those areas, because this doesn't work with the interpolated mode. So that's why we get all these patches, which we could have fixed earlier with the curves, but either way it looks good. Okay, so just to add more flavor, we can go ahead and in the radius we can increase the radius slightly, some more, and let's add some noise to the hair. So I usually add random. For the threshold I'll set it to 0.8, 0.9. Usually just get like a random stuff, and I'll reduce it so it doesn't poke out so much. And if you like, you can add some more styling, some coiliness, so we reduce the amplitude. Add more frequency, just subtle ones, probably like 15. Might be too much, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, so this is it. But we don't need this randomness, kind of makes it look messy, and reduce the clumping slightly. So yes, that's the hairstyle gotten from Curve. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you wish to see more from me, please hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching this. Bye bye for now. See you next time.